Hey guys, what is up? It is a Fast Break Report here, bringing you guys another vlog, and today we're going to be talking about something that I wanted to talk about for past couple weeks, and I am almost certain this happens if the Wizards do not trade Bradley Beal by the trade deadline, and I feel like at this point the Wizards have screwed up a very, very good situation that they at least were in last year. Because I feel like the Wizards are going to get nothing for Bradley Beal. Teams are going to be reluctant to trade for Bradley Beal this upcoming season. And the reason I say that is because everything that they've done just says too little, too late. The GM deserves to lose his job. It's just... The Washington Wizards have had Bradley Beal for 8 seasons now, and he has developed into a 30-point per game scorer, okay? That granted, he plays on a team where he is the only option on offense, so he has had more than the opportunity to become a star player. But the Washington Wizards have went out and I'm going to be honest, they made a very good attempt at trying to keep Bradley Beal, but let's just be real, okay? The moves that they made this past offseason for Bradley Beal are not enough to make the Wizards a championship contender or really even a playoff threat, okay? Yeah, they got KCP, Kyle Kuzma, Montrezl Harrell, and then, Spencer Dinwiddie, and you've got Bradley Beal, okay? They are not going to make the playoffs. They are not contending for a championship. And Bradley Beal has a player option at the end of this year, okay? It is going to be very hard to find a trade partner for Bradley Beal who will offer the Wizards draft picks, a star talent or upcoming talent that is close to what Bradley Beal might be or could be. You know what I'm saying? I don't think, I'm going to be honest with you, the Sixers could offer Ben Simmons, and I don't think the Wizards would take that at all. I wouldn't, and it's they have the cap space to take on Bradley Beal, but that's the best trade scenario, and I don't even think the Wizards would do that. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they're not getting draft picks for him when they know they can maybe get more somewhere else. Oklahoma City is another team that comes to mind. They have a boatload of draft picks they could send the Wizards, but do you trade for Bradley Beal, send your future draft assets for a guy who's clearly not going to stay? I mean, the Oklahoma City Thunder are also in a building mode, and Bradley Beal is in his prime at this point, I think. And there is one team that I think it's I think it's a lock. The situation is good. The city is great. I'm not biased, okay? Just because I'm a Pacers fan, full disclosure. But I do live in New York, and let me tell you, okay, the New York Knicks are going to have $52 million in cap space this upcoming offseason, okay? They're not going to pick up the qualifying option on Kevin Knox, okay? He's supposed to enter as a restricted free agent, but I think they're going to let him walk as an unrestricted free agent. You have the Joakim Noah contract, which is finally coming to an end this season. That'll free up another $6 million in cap space. And then after that, they have a bunch of expiring guys. Mitchell Robinson's a guy who expires a $1.8 million. But point being, the Knicks are going to have so much money in cap space this upcoming offseason that they can call Bradley Beal in, hand him a blank check, and say, write any number. $220 million over 5 years, 4 or 5 years, done. Okay? They can, I think there's a limit. I think they're only able to offer him 130, 170 or something. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm not sure how that works. But the point of the matter is, the Knicks they got bread to spend. Okay, I'm just gonna keep it a buck. They got bread. They got a lot of bread to spend, and they're a team that is right on the cusp of being a contender. Okay, you get Bradley Beal, who lived in Washington, is a very loyal player. The Knicks and the Knicks fans would love a player like Bradley Beal. He's clearly loyal to whatever team he's on. You know, he buys into stuff. You know, it's pretty obvious. Like, he bought into the Wizards, and the Wizards were a shit team. Okay, but he still believed. And for what it's worth, If you're going to get a guy who's loyal, who's as good as Bradley Beal, and you have to pay a premium for that loyalty, when it comes to Bradley Beal, it might be worth offering him 35, 36, 37 million a year, maybe 40 million a year, if it means you're going to get a guy who is going to stay there and, so, you know, quote unquote, trust the process, okay? And then if you look at the Knicks roster, right? They play defense. I think they were the best defensive team in the league last year, or the second best. Like, they were really good on defense. They've got R.J. Barrett. They've got Kemba Walker now. They have Derrick Rose. They have, you know, even if Mitchell Robinson walks, they have Nerlens Noel. They have Emmanuel Quickley. Like, even their bench is good. They have Evan Fournier. Like, they're a team that they could sign Bradley Beal. Okay, get Bradley Beal on a team, and then let Mitchell Robinson walk, okay, if you can't re-sign him to expand on your roster. Once you add Bradley Beal to that mix, your odds of getting a guy like Dwight Howard, who else? JaVale McGee, a Joseph Nurkic, okay, there's Enes Kanter, okay, like Jonas Valanciunas, like the list goes on and on. You just need a center. Okay, you just need a decent center that can rebound the basketball and play defense, and Dwight Howard fits the bill. Okay, like once they get a Bradley Beal type player, they can sign anybody. Okay, because then at that point the Knicks are serious. Okay, at that point they're a great defensive team. Oh, and now they just got a guy who can put up 30 points per game with Julius Randle, who's going to give you like 20 a game, 20 and 11 with a couple assists, you know what I'm saying? You got Kemba Walker, who can go out and, you know, create shots off the dribble. He's a shot creator. He's always been kind of compared to Kyrie Irving, but he's not exactly Kyrie Irving. Like, I think it's safe to say they have similar play styles, but Kyrie Irving is light years ahead of Kemba Walker as far as skill, but Kemba Walker is still a solid piece you can have if he stays healthy. You have Derrick Rose coming off the bench, Emmanuel Quickley coming off the bench, Nerlens Noel or whoever you decide to sign coming off the bench. I mean, like, they could go out and get, like, Thaddeus Young, including Bradley Beal, or a Kyle Anderson, or a Serge Ibaka, okay? I think if the Knicks went out and got Bradley Beal, they could pick up Serge Ibaka and Dwight Howard immediately, and their team would become scary good. Their team would be a championship contender. With how good they play defense, you get a guy in Serge Ibaka who can play defense. You get a guy in Dwight Howard who can still give you like 8 and 8 and a couple blocks. That's really all you need from the center position anymore these days. It's just the idea. The Knicks have the best situation to go to of any free agent this offseason. And let's say, God forbid, they whiff on Bradley Beal, right? Let's just say they whiff on Bradley Beal and don't get him for whatever reason. He signs with the Mavericks or the Pacers or whoever. I doubt it. I highly doubt it, actually. But there's Zach LaVine out there. James Harden, potentially. Kyrie Irving, I don't know, but like there's Zach LaVine out there, okay? So if they whiff on Bradley Beal, hey, Zach LaVine, here's, 36 million a year, okay? Like, they have options. The Knicks are going to become a very good team, but I think if I'm Bradley Beal, logically, the Knicks make sense. If I'm Bradley Beal and I'm playing on the Wizards, I'm watching Knicks tape all year because that's where I'm going this offseason if I don't get traded. And like I said, teams are going to be reluctant to trade for Bradley Beal because he has a player option. And a lot of the teams that would like to have Bradley Beal, just simply don't have the talent to offer for a Bradley Beal, okay? They might have draft picks like the Golden State Warriors. I hear people all the time say the Golden State Warriors should trade either Draymond Green or Andrew Wiggins or whoever for Bradley Beal. The thing is, okay, if I'm the Washington Wizards, if you send me Andrew Wiggins and a couple draft picks for Bradley Beal, not only did I get finessed, but like the GM is probably losing his job regardless. But like if you do that and you trade for Andrew Wiggins, who, okay, he's a 20 point per game scorer, but he never became the guy that we expected him to be. Okay, granted, if he goes to the Wizards, he could become a number one option and maybe, just maybe become like a fraction of the player that we thought he could have been when he was being drafted out of Kansas or whatever. It's just the idea, it's very unlikely. And I think, the Grizzlies are put in a situation as well where, they could maybe make a run at Bradley Beal, but they got Jaren Jackson, who they got to lock up this year. Okay, he's entering free agency as a restricted free agent. But if I'm Bradley Beal, okay, I am going to the New York Knicks this upcoming offseason. And if Bradley Beal goes to the Knicks, just think about the story as well. Like, it all makes sense. Like, I just don't see how he doesn't do it. Because it's like, not only does New York become a basketball powerhouse again, like, they'll be put in a situation where they can contend. It will also open up free agents to actually be interested in New York. Like, if you sign Bradley Beal, like, just paying him whatever he wants, okay, opens up so many possibilities as well for future free agencies down the road. It's just, at that point, New York regains its basketball identity. It gets a loyal superstar potential player, like a guy who is like on the cusp of superstar potential. Bradley Beal, I think, is like on that very fine line between superstar and star player. Because Bradley Beal, I don't think by himself has the ability to make a team a playoff team. But he's still a very good number one option. He's like a 1B option, I think, on a lot of teams. But on the Knicks, he could be a 1A option. And he could turn the Knicks into a championship contender. And if you get a Bradley Beal, the Knicks are going to be good for a long time to come, especially with the young talent they have in Emmanuel Quickley, RJ Barrett. It would be nice for them to bring back Mitchell Robinson and not have to have him do anything else other than, dunk the basketball and block shots and grab boards. That would be great if they could bring back Mitchell Robinson, and they might. For all we know, they could bring back Mitchell Robinson and, then go get a Serge Ibaka and bring in Bradley Beal. Who knows, All I know is the Knicks are a young team. They're up and coming, and they're really missing that spark to really send them over the top. And Bradley Beal could be that. It's just the story, everything. New York being, I would say, a better city than Washington, D.C. It's obviously better. There's not even a question. But if he liked Washington, he's going to love New York City. Okay? And that's all I'm saying. And I think it's just going to be I think it's a match made in heaven. I'm just going to be honest with you. I think it's too good to not be true. It's just, and if he turns it down, I'm going to be honest, I think Bradley Beal's hurting himself because I think that's the best destination for him this offseason if he becomes a free agent. Now, I do think this, okay? I will say this going out. Bradley Beal is one of those players that if he enters free agency this offseason and he's got, being that this is his first ever free agency, Bradley Beal's not stupid. I think he's going to wait towards like the middle, to the end of free agency to pick where he's going to sign. But if it's just for me, I don't even think I would have to wait that long. I think the Knicks are the ideal spot, especially with the young talent that they have, how well they play defense. They play team basketball very well. RJ Barrett is finally starting to develop a 3-point shot to an extent. So, like, it goes in at this point. So, I don't know, man. I think that they just have too much to offer. And the idea that they can cut them a check for anything, I think just adds to that. So, tell me what you guys think down below in the comment section below. Helps me out. Subscribe if you guys want to see more. This has been the Fast Break Report, and I'm out of this motherfucker. Peace, guys.